Good afternoon. My name's John with the Pine Tree, and I have the great pleasure of being here with David Tunno. Now, there's a rumor that
okay, but set him up, John. I just came here, and you said you wanted to do an interview, so
I did.
This is totally off the cuff.
It was impromptu,
right.
you know.
As long as people understand that.
Now, rumor has it that if the recall signature campaign is successful, that there's a ring that you may throw your hat in.
I've thrown my hat into the ring. Not officially yet, because you don't do
you
that.
You probably can't until
you can't. There's no mechanism for it until the petition drive is successful, assuming that it is.
Right.
And we don't know that.
No.
We don't know what's
going to happen. Because it is a lot of signatures to get.
Yeah. Right. But it was. I thought it was fair to tell people instead of waiting for them.
Right.
To tell people now. I will do it if that happens. I will be in the ring if that happens.
Right. Now I know that from following this, and I know you followed the supervisors and everything is closer than anybody over the last couple of years.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of really active people in this district. This is District 5.
You put your time in.
Yeah, I did what I could.
What's the motivation to run?
What I think people will want to know. That's a multi-part question.
Right.
If I can break it down.
Right.
For the people who would debate, I don't really want Darren Spellman for another 3 years. Don't want to wait till 214. But
and we hope somebody will fix that alarm at some point.
Oh, there's a car alarm. Good timing. But I can't make a decision about that unless I see what the alternatives are.
Right.
Okay, and that makes sense.
Right.
People would want to know that. So that's the reason for putting the hat into the ring now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the campaign issues really should wait until there is a campaign.
Understood.
All right, after the let's not. We're going to be talking about this. If they get their signatures, we're going to be talking about these issues.
Yeah.
After.
Well, I guess let's back up from that. Then tell us a little about your background.
Okay, fair enough. I was a Marine Corps brat, so we moved around a lot. Lived in a lot of different states.
Right.
Lived in California as a youth, and came back as an adult. Back in '87.
Okay.
Come from Oregon mostly kind of a Californian via Oregon.
Got it.
I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in communications. My undergraduate degree is theater and speech with a secondary education certificate.
So you would be the thespian on the board.
Yeah. I'll be the guy with the frowny mask. And then I went back and got a master's degree in communications and speech with an emphasis in film and video production.
Okay.
And journalism. Did PR type communication stuff, radio news announcer, news director. Worked for Oregon State University and their PR department as a media director, and then worked for many years at Northwestern Natural Gas Company, a big utility company in the Northwest, in their PR department as a video producer, public speaker, did the speakers bureau, did presentations to the public.
So I should be thoroughly embarrassed by what I'm.
No. The video field has passed me by, because when I first got into it, you had those big lugging things that you would carry, and then the big heavy camera, and everything is now it's this big. Okay, so I'm well out of it.
All right.
In fact, television at that time, many of the stations, including the one that I worked at, shot on 16mm film.
Right.
Had to rush it through a developer and get it on the news that night. So it was his ancient history. From there, I came back to California, and I got into trial consulting. It was a relatively new field at the time. It was only a few years old. Went to work for a big firm. 4 years later, the firm, I'm making a long story short as I can. 4 years later, the firm was, going downhill because of a big change in management. So rather than go down with the ship, I went out on my own.
Got it.
And I've been working as Tunno and Associates Trial Consulting ever since, and that's been, that's going on 18 years of independent work, and another 4 before that with the
Very nice. Now, I'm not trying to extend as you're going off into a side note, but Has there been some pretty interesting cases? I mean, some
Yeah.
big cases. I mean, what's the case that would stick out that you've?
Well, the ones that people would know about because they would be covered
Yeah.
in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
The civil cases you never hear about.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even though there's billions of dollars involved, you never hear about them
Right.
Unless you read the Wall Street Journal. But the one that people would know about would be Rodney King.
Interesting.
Rodney King came down. There was actually 3 Rodney King trials, and I worked on the second and third
Okay.
on behalf of the police officers.
Okay.
And in the third one, specifically on behalf of Stacy Kuhn, who was the Sergeant Kuhn. Everybody might remember
Yeah.
him. Nice guy, by the way. Really,
Yeah.
really great guy. And also on the O.J. Simpson case, I didn't work for the prosecution or the defense. The prosecutor, the district attorney,
Yeah.
what's his name? Garamendi? No, Garcetti from L.A. County.
Well, those memories are starting to fade.
Oh,
a
I
little
know,
bit.
they are. They are. I apologize for that. He recommended that I work with the coroner's office because the coroner's office had totally botched the hearing.
Right.
I don't know if you remember the guy that
Yeah.
was the coroner, and he was just a disaster. So Garcetti asked the coroner's office to hire
to
me
patch that back
to
up.
work with those guys, and I did. And I actually trained the one who did the testifying in trial, Dr. Lakshmanan. Now there's a name that hopefully I'll never forget. It was a tongue twister. Who's actually the director of the coroner's department, and he
Okay.
did the testifying in the trial. And then I worked as a TV commentator for the trial at ABC, KABC in LA.
Very cool. Very cool.
There's been some instances where the Michael Jackson case, I would
Right.
be called in to, I was on MSNBC there, various other trials that would come up. They like to have a guy come in and give the commentary.
Sure.
Pundits, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, if everything goes forward, what are some of the things that you would like to see changed in county government or brought to county government through the supervisor's position?
Well, you're kind of previewing what I would put on a website.
Sure.
And so this is going to be a little bit sketchy. But some of the things that are on my mind are things that people already know I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with those.
Yeah.
I would like to get whatever our county can do to help these poor people who are trapped in this FEMA scheme
Got it.
get some help.
Got it.
Okay? It's got to be done. There's thousands of people. They're just getting hosed. It's the most unfair thing I've ever seen, and government is getting away with it. And I want people to understand that one of the chief dynamics of this problem that the problem that government has in dealing with FEMA now is that FEMA owes the federal treasury $18 billion from various disasters, yes, but also from mistakes they've made by selling insurance at below market rates.
Right.
Okay, so they've gotten burned as any insurance company would who doesn't do it by the actuarial tables.
Yeah.
So to get that $18 billion back, they've got to get it from people who don't need insurance but have to pay it by mandate, right?
Got
That's the dynamic.
Got it.
Congress seems to want to get that $18 billion back before they really do anything about FEMA,
Now,
and I'm against that.
There's also a carrot for our local county as well, right?
Yes,
Isn't
apparently.
That because that to kind of grease the skids.
Right?
This thing could take too long. We
I
probably
know
wanna
it
go
does,
into,
but yes, John's right. FEMA gets cooperation from the counties by giving them goodies.
right. Which the counties, local municipalities are just desperate for right now.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right. They are. Everybody is.
Yeah.
So it's free money to them. In exchange, they have to hand over their citizens to FEMA, and that's where they've crossed the line.
Yeah.
Now, if it were me, I would say, take your goodies and get out of here. We don't need you. Now, I still think there's some things that can be done, and I intend to propose them to the board. My intention was next week. That's a meeting next week. A couple of real simple procedures that I think they can follow. That's within their power to do.
Okay.
Some of it is strictly Congress,
Right.
but at the local level, I'm trying to get them to do what I think they can do.
Now, I guess to kind of button this up a little bit, as this thing goes forward, you're going to put up a website with A lot of your...
Yeah, I'll put
Okay.
up. I think I'll put up a website. It'll have some of my past work on it,
Mhm.
and it'll have some of these ideas
Right.
That
Got it.
we want to talk about now. I want the county to look at their CalPERS problem, and we know there's a CalPERS problem,
Right.
because everybody who's involved in CalPERS has a problem.
Mhm.
It's just where are they on the timetable of collapse? Okay, how close to the cliff are they? That's it. Everybody's on the same program, so it's just a matter of how far down the timeline they are.
Okay.
Now, got to give credit to Daryl Wilburn, who's researched this thing to the nth degree. Really, really a lot of good expertise, and I'm just kind of piggybacking on his expertise to try to sound the alarm that we've got to look at this and know what our unfunded debt is to the CalPERS system and our employees' retirement plans.
So I guess from a media consultant and media professional, the soundbite is you're going to try to bring some fiscal. You're going to try to bring fiscal. I mean, your
It starts
fiscal
there
stuff to
and
county,
it ends
to
there.
county government.
That is the number one job of county government, is to spend the taxpayers' dollars as wisely as possible.
Okay.
Look at every dollar. Look where you can cut, not so that the services that are needed are gone, but look for anything that's wasteful.
Right.
Look for situations that are going to bite you in the behind
Yeah.
down the road, like CalPERS
Yeah.
could very well do. So it starts with fiscal responsibility. We know that that's the case in the federal government. Everybody's talking about it, but we are a microcosm of that.
Right. You know what? I guess we don't. It's a little too early to know how this is going to turn out yet. But one thing we've always wanted to say is, from following it, is anybody who is willing to put their hat into the ring on this should be thanked, because in some ways these are very thankless jobs. They're hard work.
Yeah.
They're there's you have to have a real fire in the belly to do it.
Well,
and it's
I'm not looking for any thanks for
No,
from
I
anyone
understand,
just for entering the race. If I do a good job, they can thank me.
I
Okay?
understand. But it's one of these things that decisions like this to enter, for most people, are not haphazard decisions.
No, I'm telling you.
They're not.
I can understand. I can understand the reluctance of people who would otherwise be a real asset
Right.
to the county in some capacity.
Yeah.
I can understand the motivation not to get in there.
Yeah.
And
Good luck.
oh, you're welcome.